Dreamers. I wanted to come on here and give a little bit of background, a little bit of behind the scenes, behind the music, if you will, about my new project, Wild Dreamer. I'm so extremely excited because it is finally here. It is finally out in the world, ready for public consumption, and I cannot wait for all of you guys to hear it. So if you haven't done so already, first thing you gotta do, download Wild Dreamer. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Music, all of that. Anywhere music is sold, you can find my new EP. I wanted to put this little bit of behind the scenes video together for you guys because a lot of people have been asking me about my original music, and I haven't released original music in a really long time. I want to say it's been like maybe almost 7 years since, well, even longer since I released my last project, first and last project. And, you know, just a long time since I released original music. It doesn't mean that I haven't been writing. It just means that I have actually had a great time and had a lot of success with corporate singing for the past couple of years. I'm talking cruise ships, casinos, traveling shows, theme parks, things like that. And I've done quite a bit of work as a singer the last couple of years, but I haven't done as much of my own music and things that really kind of resonates with me personally. And just this whole process has been awesome, getting back to all that, getting back to what I love, which is my first love, songwriting. I mean, nothing compares to that. Of course, you know, making money with your music and your singing is awesome. And, you know, I talk about that a lot on my singing channel, on my other YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, I will put a link. Hopefully you can check that out at some point. But yeah, I really wanted to do this for my career, but also for myself, just because I know how much songwriting gave to me and how much it made me happy and how fulfilling it was to be an artist and to be a creator. And I mean, of course, I still am an artist and a creator, even, you know, when I wasn't releasing originals, but something about it just feels right and it feels like home. So I'm super excited once again for this new project to come out. Like I said, it is out. So if you haven't grabbed it, make sure you please go grab it. It is awesome. I'm not just saying that, but it's a cool project. It's different, very different from the last project that the music that I put out in the past. Very different, but still awesome. I call it like an indie rock, indie pop, a little alternative, little reggae vibes. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the meaning of this project to me. So obviously it's called Wild Dreamer. That's the name of my EP. And the reason I wanted to call it Wild Dreamer is because, you know, my life to this point, and it kind of ties into the theme, but my life at this point has really felt like just following my wildest dreams, and a lot of things that I've done or that I have even yet to do, want to do in the future. People say, you know, I couldn't do that in my wildest dreams, and they are my wildest dreams, right? I've always made it a purpose of mine to follow my dreams, even if they're crazy, even if they're, you know, huge. And at this stage in my life, like just coming off of this crazy, you know, really awesome, busy career and sort of transitioning into doing more of my own music, it's like following a whole other dream in a different capacity. So it's just, it's bigness, it's huge, it's following your dreams, it's going after the most craziest, most wildest thing you could ever think of. And that's me. That's kind of like the mantra I like to follow in my life. So that's where I got that name from. I wanted to put out new music because, like I said, you know, I hadn't done it in a long time, but also I feel like this project, a lot of the songs on the project, I keep calling it a project, but I'll call it an EP interchangeably. But a lot of the songs on this EP have to do with you know, a transition and transitioning into a different stage of life. And got my notes here. Let's see. Yeah, so the purpose of it was to get my name out there again with my original music. When I was in LA almost 10 years ago, and I first started out, first moved to LA, and I was writing my own music and performing it out in different clubs and bars and events and venues and things like that. I had started getting the buzz going, but you know, I didn't get much mainstream success just more like locally, you know, in the areas of that where I was. And also I was in college at the time, so I didn't have all of the time to pursue it. But I still enjoyed it, and I still was getting bookings, you know, here and there, but never really got to that point where I never submitted for radio or festivals or things like that. So I wanted to get my name out there again and kind of get an idea of what I could do, you know, with my original music. I have had a lot of success in the other avenues, but not necessarily with my music. So that was kind of the purpose of this EP. I fully produced it, executive produced it myself. So, you know, I have a small, or had a small budget for this project. I didn't have, you know, funding from record label or from anybody. So I basically, you know, did everything out of my own pocket and out of my own, you know, planning and everything like that. So of course it took longer. It's not as, I don't know, what's the word, really elaborate. You know, I have a 4-piece band, a rhythm section, but if I had more money, of course I'd have horns, and I'd have 2 pianos, and I'd have, you know, like a lot more time in the studio. But I had kind of a limited amount of resources, but I still made it happen even with my limited amount of resources. So I'm really proud of myself for that. My songwriting process, usually like 9 times out of 10, it starts with me hearing a melody in my head. So I'll hear something like a catchy melody or a catchy sound, and I will write a lyric to it. And that's generally how it starts for me. Usually 9 times out of 10, that's how it starts. But sometimes I get an idea for a lyric or an idea for a song, like the content, I mean, like a subject of a song. And I will write the name down, write a title, you know, where I think I want to go with that idea. And, you know, and then maybe match a melody that I'm thinking with those words. So, and then kind of mesh them together. All songwriters have their own process. There is not a right way or a wrong way. I definitely don't think so. And I hear a lot of random melodies in my head a lot. So a lot of times I will like sing a lyric over it, make up a lyric, whatever feels right, sounds right in my head. And then I'll record it like on my voice memos on my phone. And I will, you know, write it down, make sure I remember those ideas so they don't leave my head right away. But yeah, there are different ways that I don't play an instrument like proficiently enough to, you know, plunk it out on the keyboard or to like play it on the guitar. Just not enough. You know, I can more hear it in my mind orally, yeah, like in my head, I can hear it better. So what I will do, so that's my next step of my process. So when I do have a melody and a lyric kind of down pat, I will go into GarageBand and maybe play a few notes and, or maybe add some loops or add a drum line or a bass line or something that kind of puts together a basic foundation of the song and kind of how I want it to sound. Sometimes I'll put in parts just using my voice. So I'll do the bass line with my voice. I'll boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom. Like I'll have my own rhythm that I want in the song, and I'll record myself doing it. So that way, for the next step, it's easy to decipher. And that brings me to the next thing. Part of my song creation process for this particular project, also, you know, for other songs I've done, kind of coming up with the arrangement or the rhythm or how I want it to sound in my head, but also out of my head, right? So what I will do is I'll put that together in some kind of rough you know, combination on GarageBand. I have GarageBand I use. I'm very much a novice on that app, but it's so fun. It's so awesome. Like, very, very good tool for singers or just for musicians, period. Because you can record your voice, you can record harmonies, you can like do loops and all sorts of like really fun parts. And so what I did is I had that basic kind of rough draft, and I took that to the band that I was working with. So the band that I used, they're freaking awesome, a band called Bama. They're based in Las Vegas, and the bass player is a friend of mine who I met through another musician friend, a guitar player named Eric. We'll talk about him in a minute. And yeah, and so they do a lot of gigs in town. So when I was in Las Vegas, I did a few gigs with them and a few rehearsals with them. And when I told them I was working on this project, I said, look, I want you guys to be my band because they're first of all, they're incredible. That's number one. But number two, they're very good at picking things up by ear and interpreting kind of what you mean by what, like they can, I say they like collectively, but each musician are so talented to where I can kind of explain what I want, and they're like, well, do you mean kind of like this? And then they'll play a few things and we'll bounce ideas off of each other. And it's just really a beautiful process. I absolutely love it. If I play, maybe I'll add some of these in, but some of my early versions of some of these songs sound totally different. Not totally, but they sound a little bit different because once I took them to the guys and they interpreted it their way. My version on steroids, like 10 times better. So it's just awesome. It's just a really, I don't know if that's a normal conventional way of doing it. I guess, you know, like I said, there is no real wrong way to create songs or to songwrite, but maybe I did it the hard way or the roundabout way because, you know, my instrument playing is not up to par. It's not adequate. But for me, I like it because I love collaboration. And I mean, it's hard sometimes to collaborate freely and not feel like you're like, oh, you know, I'm scared, like I'm vulnerable, because it's your music, right? It's my baby. And so I want it to be right. And I have an idea of how I want it, but being able to open up and to be vulnerable and to be open to ideas and suggestions from others is a beautiful thing. And it is a really big part. It has been a really integral part of this process for me. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is I had a little bit of a session with my friend Eric, and he was the one who helped me kind of lay the foundation down for these songs. So he was the liaison, I forgot to say this before, he was the liaison between my chicken scratch on GarageBand with my voice and my little weird amalgamations of like what I thought would sound good, and me bringing it to the band. So what I did was I sat down with Eric and I played him kind of what I had so far. And he plays guitar, obviously, and he took his guitar and just kind of interpreted what I was saying and what I was singing to him. And like I said before, it was kind of like, is this kind of what you mean? Do you like this? Can we change it here? Do you like, you know, we bounced ideas off of each other, and that was okay. So I want to talk about the band rehearsal process. I did actually perform More Good Times with Bama at a showcase at the Rio Hotel back in August. And it was like the first time, obviously, I'd ever performed that song. And it was really, really cool because the original version that I did on my own on GarageBand is literally my voice doing all of the parts. It's like do 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 do, and they completely took it and just made it into like this awesome, you know, island flavor song. And it was just amazing to see it come to life like that. So the band process of the rehearsals was really awesome because, like I said, they took everything that I wanted to, you know, make happen, and they made it their own. But of course, I approved. Okay, so the recording studio, the day, D-Day, the big day where it was time to come record. I remember it, I mean, it was only in December, but it was just a freaking awesome day. You know, the type of tired that you feel when you're like, I just did something totally incredible. I just did something totally tiring, but totally rewarding. That's how it felt. I was literally at the studio. We were all there, like almost 6 hours or 8, what was it? Got there at 11 and I left at 6:30. So yeah, so I was there like, oh my God, it's almost 7 hours, and probably left a little after 6:30 because I was still chatting with the engineer. I went to Skeleton Key Recording Studio. If you guys are in Las Vegas, please, please, please check them out if you need studio services of any kind. They also have a rehearsal space there called Checkered Moose, and the owner, his name is Bobby. He's amazing. Tell him Alyssa Harris sent you. And he's so helpful. He'll work with, you know, your price range. He works with your schedule. He's so accommodating. Everybody at the studio are incredible. He had some interns that were helping with my session, but just the entire team there was incredible. I could not have asked for a better experience. All the guys got there. Everyone got there on time, set up. And what happened first was the guys they recorded all the music in the other room while I was on the other side. I don't know the technical term, okay, but in the booth. I was on this side of the booth with the engineer, and then the band were on the other side. I'll show you pictures, but the band was on the other side, and I sang with them so that they could get the music down. And then, and that took, you know, a few hours, of course. And then the second half of the day was me just doing the vocals over the music that we had already recorded that morning. And the guy that did my mixing and mastering, his name is Anthony Burns. He did, he mastered and mixed my whole project, and he was helping me. He was very good. He was there while I was doing my vocals. The rest of the band had left, and he also played drums on my EP. So he was the drummer and helped with a lot of the arrangements. He was incredible. And he stayed with me, and he kind of coached me through it, because by the end of the day, man, we were I was so tired. My voice was shot. I was like, why am I rushing? He's like, because you're tired. But it was like a labor of love. I was exhausted. We were all exhausted. It was a freaking long day. Everyone was hungry. Everyone was tired, but we got it done, and it was just amazing. It was 6 songs, but, you know, that could be, I mean, imagine if I had more than that, if I was doing it like an album, a full length album, that I'd be there, probably have to do it over, you know, a week or something. So, yeah, you know, the purpose of me doing this EP is because I want to get the buzz going before I put the money into, you know, releasing and producing a, you know, big project like an album. Get off, I want to talk a little bit, very briefly, about each song and kind of about what each one kind of means. And I wanted to start writing some descriptions, so that way when you do like download it on iTunes, there's a description for that EP. I don't really know how people do that, but I saw that on a couple of albums before, and I'm like, that's really cool. It's like, you know, the old school, when you buy a CD, it's like you read about each song. Maybe there's lyrics, maybe there's background about the song. And I kind of wanted to do that very, very briefly. So the first song on my EP is called Start Again. And you can kind of infer what it kind of means and what it's about. I really love this song because I mean, I like the rock and roll vibe that it has. And I love, I mean, I came up with that melody. It's a little repetitive, but I mean, I liked it. And the lyric, as far as the lyrics go, lyrically, it deals with, you know, just fresh starts. It's about fresh starts. It's about, you know, leaving your past behind. That's what I like to say, you know, sort of just forgetting everything and starting fresh and doing something different, you know. That was my that's the theme of this EP altogether, but that song in particular. So I wanted to start out, I wanted to be off to the races with a bang with that song, because it's it basically says it in the lyrics. I want to start again. I'm ready to turn the page. I'm ready to start a new day. That's what I had been feeling, and that's what I had been feeling for many months before leaving Las Vegas. And, you know, that's a bunch of, you know, personal crap that, you know, I went through, but that was how I was feeling. And, you know, the one lyric in there, they know me so well, that is not the key, but they know me so well, know the stories that they tell. I'm just ready. The idea in that is that I'm ready to get away and leave behind the people that think they know me so well. So, you know, when you want a fresh start, you want to, you know, you want to just be around new people that don't know your story, right? You're a complete stranger to them. And something about that is just really exciting to me. Dreaming of the City is like really, really fun, because that was another melody that I tinkered with a little bit on GarageBand. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, by the time this video is released, I mean, I know that the EP is coming out soon, but, or is already out, I should say, but by the time this video comes out, I don't know where I'm going to be living because of this whole Corona thing. But I am in the process of, I'm on my way to hopefully going to New York City. So the idea of, you know, going to a big city is awesome, and it's exciting, and piggybacking off of the idea of I want to start again, I want to start a new life. I want to be in the city, and just, I fantasize about the city, right? New York is such a dreamy place for me. It's like, you know, I'm a West Coast girl through and through, but New York has always kind of had this very exciting place in my heart, and I've always been kind of enamored with the idea of going there and going to the city. And now that I have an opportunity to, I'm super excited. Of course, plans have been halted at this moment just because of the whole Rona, but yeah, that song is basically about that. I'm dreaming of the Big Apple and ready to start over, start a new life there in the city, because anything could happen, right? All right, Irish Goodbye is my favorite song on this project, which is like so random, but I love this song because it's so, well, one, I like the vibe. My dad called it a country vibe, which I didn't really feel that, but I guess the guitar makes it a little country. But I love this song so much because I'm guilty. Okay, Irish Goodbye. You know what an Irish Goodbye is? No one's asked me, what does that mean? So I'm assuming either they know or they just think I'm being like extremely hipster and trying to be deep and fake deep and artistic by like calling the song something that like no one knows. But I assume that people know. It's an expression. Okay, when you do an Irish Goodbye is when you leave a party and you like don't tell anybody. That's the point, right? Like you went to the party, but you like don't want to say your goodbyes and do your rounds and be like, okay, bye, thanks for this, okay, bye, take care. Like, you don't want to do all that. You just kind of want to like slowly fade away and disappear, like that Homer Simpson meme. That's the Irish Goodbye. You just do, and then, you know, by the end of the party, they're like, wait, what happened to so-and-so? Where'd they go? Oh, they just left. Like, it just happened. So I like that metaphor. And I wanted to apply that metaphor to relationships and not like, okay, I break up with someone by never speaking to them again. That's not what I mean. I mean, leaving a relationship behind and having that fresh start by just completely cutting ties. Like, no texting, don't look me up, don't go back and reminisce on things. Like, that's not where I am. I want to just forget you because it's less painful. I want to just leave without you saying anything. I gotta leave, because if I do, I'm gonna sit here and emotions will come up, and I don't like that. So it's less, like I said, less painful to just, you know, slowly disappear and fade away from your life to the point where you don't even remember me anymore. That's how I want my exes to feel about me. Just forget you ever knew me. Like, just, I don't care. I'm weird. I don't know. Maybe. Right. So the fourth song on this EP is called There For You. And this song was inspired when my dad called me one night and he asked me to come home. He wanted me to come home for an event he was having, and he wanted me to be there, and I was working. And that kind of was the catalyst for just sort of like a whirlwind of emotions about a bittersweet, right? Emotions about working a lot and being really, really busy and feeling like, oh man, like I'm so happy. I'm doing everything that I love, but I'm letting people down because I'm not there for them. And that was kind of how that song came to be. And I say, you know, I always dreamed of this. I always dreamed of being busy. I'm so glad I'm busy. Like, I'm booked and blessed, booked and busy, right? Like, that's the idea. That's what I was going through, not to shoot my own horn or anything, but in like the latter half of 2018 and all of 2019, I was freaking so busy. I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked till I was like, spread myself so thin, okay? And I mean, it's amazing, right? On one hand, it's amazing because you're working, you're making money, you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose. But at the same time, you're not, I felt like I was not there for my family. And that song is just kind of a way that I express that, you know, I'm sorry that I'm not there, even though I really so badly want to be. Yeah, I'm trying to make you proud, but this sucks, right? Anyway, okay, last but not least, More Good Times. I mean, very important song right now because everyone's sort of going through it and freaking out because they're like, okay, it's the apocalypse. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. I feel that. But before this ever happened, the idea for More Good Times came because I think I'm an idealist, you know? I like thinking of, you know, the best case scenario and always being positive and thinking about, you know, the best times and trying to think back on the good times. And that kind of gets me in trouble sometimes because I am not in the present, right? Even though it's great to think about all the good times you've had, you're not necessarily being present. So that song, it's what I tell myself when things are getting kind of bad and kind of crappy. And I'm like, dang, like, oh man, I remember last summer when I was just having so much fun. And it encourages me, it reassures me when I say, well, there's gonna be more good times. There's gonna be more days that you're gonna feel amazing, you're gonna feel happy. Like these negative days and these rainy days and these kind of sad times and moments are not gonna be forever. They're not gonna last always. So don't get sucked in, don't dwell on that. And so that's pretty much the basic premise of More Good Times. I mean, if you had to ask me where did the reggae flair come in, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know where that came from. It literally was just probably one of those midnight thoughts that I just ran with it. There's gonna be more brighter days. And you know what? I keep thinking I really, really want to film a music video over that. Like when I'm on an island somewhere, like in the Caribbean, when I'm doing a cruise, I want to bring someone and have them bring my camera and we can just like film a video for More Good Times because it sounds like something that should be like in the Caribbean, right? Yes. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm really glad that you showed interest in the backstory, the behind the scenes of this project. Like I said, I am so super excited that this is finally available. It has been a long time coming, you guys. This is a passion project. It's my baby, but it's also something that I want to put out to share with everybody. I want it to affect some people, and I really wanted to give the background so that way when people are listening, they can kind of connect sort of the idea. And if there were any questions, like, you know, the songwriter answered the question for you. If you were listening, you're like, what does that even mean? maybe, you know, you can connect those dots, make that connection somehow. Once again, thank you so much, everybody, for your support. Like I said, the EP is available everywhere. You can follow me on Instagram for updates. I'm not sure when things are going to pick back up because we're still technically in quarantine, but hopefully I'll be able to perform at some shows this summer. That would be incredible. I would love to perform Wild Dreamers somewhere, you know, festival, some show, some coffee shop, open mic, doesn't matter, but I'm ready to get back out there. And I really thank everybody for your support thus far and for your continued support. Leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and keep in touch with me. Send me an email, follow me on social, and I'll see you soon. Bye.